Right, first of all, we'll start talking about, you said the review, how it changed from the new review, the way it is.
Right, okay. Up until now, every time my daughter's had a school review, we've literally sort of gone into a room, there's been the head teacher or whoever, and whoever helps with Bethany, if they're available. We've been given like a piece of paper which basically tells us what she's been doing through the year, or if there's any sort of problems, you know, but it's very, very basic. We're actually like told what she's going to achieve within the next year, 6 months, and sometimes you just think, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous, there's no way she's going to achieve that in that period of time. Well, just recently now, probably the last 2 reviews we've had has made a complete difference. It's a different way of, it's been worded, it's been accessed from Bethany's point of view as well as ours. Everybody's listening to us, which is a huge thing. Being a parent, being isolated and not being listened to is so frustrating. With this new review, they've taken on board what we want, what we need, and what the child wants and the child needs for now and for their future. The last time we went into a review meeting, Bethany was included. She felt like part of the meeting, although Bethany is SLD, so she's quite slow learner. She doesn't understand everything, but she knows when she's included and when she's not, the same as most children. I gave ideas to the head teacher, to the different members of staff, our new liaison officer Julia, and most of the ideas and things that I asked for have been carried out within that period of time, which is wonderful. I've got a new book where, because Bethany doesn't communicate very well, I've got a new book that comes home with her every night. I can now find out what she's doing every day, what she's had for lunch, who she's played with, what she's done during school hours, what's coming up, what she's got to look forward to, different things, what mood she's been in. Bethany suffers from epilepsy, so she sometimes has more seizures than others. And then they'll tell me what's triggered her seizures, different things. So I am able to assess how a day has been, whereas before we would come home, we would be in the car and we had no conversation because it was all one-sided. I was asking her and she was just answering yes or no, whichever. Also with the review meeting now, we've started up different ideas, different way of treating our children, teaching them more practical ways around living and life skills, whereas the academic side of Bethany's schooling I think is not very important to me personally. If she can write a name, wonderful. She's not going to be able to read, she's not going to be able to do all these other things. I've accepted that now, but we have spoken to the teachers, they've listened to us, and now they're implementing buttering toast, stupid things to everybody else, but a huge thing for my daughter, doing up buttons, things that are not taught to children, how that something is hot, something is cold, different textures of food, foods that they would normally try. All these things are in the new school. I don't know if it's the curriculum, but it should be in the curriculum. These things are really, really important to Bethany's life now and to her future, because it's very, very scary. If you're the parent of a special needs child, you don't know what to expect. You don't know how far they're going to come. You hope for the best, but you can't bank on anything, because you know that whatever we put in now is what's going to help them for the future. If we don't put it in, they're not going to get anything out of it. So I think that, you know, with this new review scheme, everybody is listening to the parent and the child, not listening to the figures and the papers and what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. You know, they're not going to get GCSEs, some of them will, you know, and that's wonderful. But Bethany's not going to get any sort of qualification. She doesn't need them. She needs things that's going to be able to make her life easier and help her find something that she can continue to be able to do in the future.
And you said, as part of these reviews changing, you said that different things have come out of it. What about the parent support group?
Oh, it's wonderful. and you wouldn't believe how wonderful it is. It's when Bethany was very, very little, we were offered a support group in the early years playgroup. That really helped me to accept the fact that Bethany had special needs, because up until that point I just thought that, you know, she's going to get better, she's going to be fine. Sitting around with other parents and talking to other mothers who are going through the same thing makes you realise that, you know, oh, it's not so bad, and you know, she's gonna get where she gets. That's about all you can ask for. But now that finished when she was 4 and she started school. After that, I looked into trying to find some other sort of groups, and there was nothing out there. If your child's autistic or your child's Down syndrome, or if it's in a category, there are places for you. But if your child is not categorised, as Bethany has Angelman syndrome, she's not in a category, so there's nowhere for us to go. There's lots of things that they say is offered, but when you actually get there, they're not. So up until recently, we've had nobody to talk to. The parents have nobody to talk to. Because I bring Bethany to school, I see the teachers and I see the children, but I see no parents, so there's no support. Having support from other parents is vital. It's you can't believe how much it helps you, because everybody has a bad day, everybody feels like screaming, and everybody knows what you're talking about, and nobody judges anybody, and it's just wonderful to be in the same environment. Also, we swap advice, we swap ideas, what works, what doesn't work. Some things work for somebody, some don't work for others. There's things like we've passed on, like with puberty and different things, there's different ideas, different types of toothbrushes you can use, different types of underwear you can use. Just now we were talking about different types of laces that you can use to make our children's lives easier. But without the support group, you wouldn't be talking to those other parents. You would still feel isolated, and you still feel you've got nobody to turn, because that's how it feels, you've got nobody to turn to. Social services, health visitors, everybody. They give you advice. It doesn't work, a lot of it. Sometimes you're very lucky, but most of it doesn't work because they haven't been there, they haven't lived it, they haven't done it. When you talk to other parents who are living it, doing it every day, that's where you get the main advice from. But without Sandfield starting up this group for our children and for the parents, we still wouldn't have that opportunity to be able to get together and feel like part of something then, rather than being on our own.
And is it nicer that there's a key worker, that is the person that comes to the group that you speak to on the phone, that puts in place the things that...
It's nice to have one person that you can turn to and that you know is on your side, who you know has got your child's best interest at heart, and that is the same person. It's a continuing help all the time. Our children can go to her, we can go to her. Any problem, nothing is. You're not boo-hooed. You're not told, oh well, that's not really important, because she knows that, you know, it is important. She knows us. She knows the child. She knows the way things work, and she then is able to help us then to whatever problem we've got. We work it out together, and it is nice to have somebody at the end of the phone you can actually speak to that is going to say, don't worry now, we'll sort it out, rather than, oh, I'll get back to you, because that's what they all say and they don't. But no, it's wonderful.
And as part of this new thing that we've been doing, you were in a meeting this week where there were people that we could all talk to about new ideas that were coming from this, and how maybe that we could get them in place in this community.
The course was very good, and it was lovely to be heard again. Like I say, you know, most of the time people don't want to hear what the parents have to say because it's messy, if you like, right? It's not what they want to hear. It's not somebody sitting there saying, oh, everything's wonderful and everything's, you know, successful. Not everything is successful, not everything's wonderful, but we're doing our best in Sandfields now to make everything good for the children and for the parents. The help that we're receiving is wonderful. The course itself I found very useful. I did have my say, as I do like to have my say, but some of the things that were coming back from some of the members of staff that were there, I didn't agree with everything. So we went down that route and I told them. And we've all learned to listen to each other and sort of take the best from each part and put it together to build a strategy to help our children to get the best out of their education and their lives. We all sat and listened to 3 children from Sandfields talking about their lives, their futures, their hopes and what they wanted from everything, and it was really moving. They told us what they wanted. They knew what they wanted, which was really surprising to me. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and what they could achieve and what they were going to achieve. And I think that has only come just recently with the hard work from the staff here, Chris, Julia, all the staff in the school that are putting so much effort in to building the children's confidence, because academically it doesn't really matter. It's the confidence, it's the way the children see themselves and see their lives. If they can't do all the paperwork and what have you, it doesn't really matter. They need life skills. They need to be able to live the life they want to live. They need to be able to access things that they can. Going back to the support group, Julia had sorted out a list of all different places that we could go to, we could take our children to, because as the gap gets bigger between young children and older children with special needs, the older children have still got the mindset of a young child and want to do the things that they would do if they were that age. Whereas with the liaison now, she's gone through all the places in the area that we're able to take our children to, free or at a reduced charge. There's so many things that we've had out of all of this. Socialising, our children socialising, us socialising. It's been wonderful.